back with another video. So yesterday I told you guys everything I enjoyed about the Apple Vision Pro. Today I have a list of things about what I dislike about the Apple Vision Pro. The first thing I dislike about the Apple Vision Pro is the battery. Now, yes, this battery is wired to the Apple Vision Pro, and if this was on the headset, this thing would be a lot heavier. But that's not my complaint. The thing I dislike is you can't tell what the battery level is on this battery. There's no indicator whatsoever. Now, if you look at a MacBook Pro, if you look at other things that have built-in batteries, obviously you just open it up and look at it, and then there's a battery indicator. Also on your iPhone, it'll usually tell you like what the battery level is of your other stuff. And if I go into my iPhone real quick, I just want to make sure I'm not crazy here. Right now, I see the battery level for my iPhone, and I see the battery level for my Apple Watch. There's no battery level for the Apple Vision Pro, even though I'm wearing the Apple Vision Pro and it's a part of like my iCloud and devices or whatnot. So we don't see that here. So the only way I can figure out what the charge level is by looking inside of the Vision Pro, which means I have to put it on to see what the battery level's at. Now, normally you'll get an indication. There'll be two lights. There'll be one light that's just orange that just says it's charging. Then you'll have another light that says, green, which means it's fully charged. But sometimes you just want to say, hey, you know what? If it's at 70%, I'll use it at 70%. If it's at, 20%, then I'll wait longer for it to charge. But like I said, there's really no way to tell about this. The other thing I don't like about the battery, and this is just me personally, is there is some sort of lightning port on the other side of this. So you got USB-C on this side, which I guess is cool for charging, but the pass-through part is lightning. Why would they put lightning on there? I don't know. Maybe it's because, they want the battery to be proprietary, but that then forces you to go out and get another $200 battery, basically, if you have to replace this thing or you want a backup battery or anything of that sort. So that's kind of annoying. The third part of this conversation, for the first reason why I dislike it, is the fact that it's not hot swappable. So I don't think there's a battery inside the Vision Pro, because if you disconnect this to hook up another battery, the entire Vision Pro shuts down completely. And then you have to wait for it to start back up. And that also goes into the other thing I dislike about this. If you disconnect this battery and then you reconnect it with another battery, the whole startup process is about at least a good minute. At least that's how it feels to me. Like, it's not instant. It's not, right away like it is on a MacBook Pro, or sometimes even like on an iPad. It takes a significant amount of time for this to start up. Is it nitpicking? Maybe, but it's a $3,500 device. I'd like for it to start up a little bit faster. So that's one of the issues that I have. Issue number two, even though this is kind of a benefit, this is also kind of a drawback. Apps are locked in place and you cannot move them around to kind of stay with you, right? So if I'm walking, let's say I'm walking down this trail, the apps are all going to stay right there, which is fine if you want to be within a certain area. However, if you want to bring the apps back with you, what you have to do is you have to hold down the crown to bring them back up. But once again, they're just going to stay there. They're not going to like follow you or anything. So here's a practical example of this. Hey Siri, open maps. Okay, so I have a map right here. And let's say for whatever reason, I just want to have a map up as I'm walking. So right now we can see what we can, oh Lord, we can see my location and we can see the creek. Okay. So if I take this now, if I'm holding it, I'm walking, but now one of my hands is being, used up. because I'm trying to hold this map here. I would like to be able to walk and have the map stay right there. Now, you could try and use travel mode, but sometimes it's a little wonky. I just wish there was just a setting where you can just go, bam, hey, here's a map, or bam, hey, here's my text message, and it's just right there, and I could just respond as I'm walking or doing other things, you know, since people like to go outside with this thing or whatnot. But that's something that I kind of dislike about it. And then sometimes the apps, when you do bring them back up somewhere else, the whole spatial environment, it remembers at least like elevation and placement or whatnot. So like if I go down this hill down here, and let's go down just a little bit further. So I'm going down here, going down these steps. The apps are still going to stay up. So whatever like spatial elevation that you're at, that's where they're going to go. Now I'm going to move them all back here, and they kind of readjust. But now some of these are in the ground, and I got to lift them up, and I got to do other stuff, and sometimes it gets a little too wonky. So like I said, I would like to just have this, you know, just shrink this down. And sometimes you can shrink it down, and other times it gets a little extra or whatever. But that's, like I said, one of the things that I dislike about it is the fact that happens, and I wish there was like a little bit of a better way. So maybe Apple does some things in the future with some updates. Number 3, light reflections. Hey Siri, open Apple TV. So, okay, there we go. So let's say we got Apple TV up, and let's say we go to a movie, and let's watch another trailer. Now I'm going to show you guys this just for it to make sense. When you're in the daylight, it's cool because there's enough light out here to where you really don't have to worry about reflections or anything. If you're like in a well-lit room, this is not an issue that much. However, when you go into these fully immersive environments, when it's like dark and stuff like that, anything that's bright, like this window right here, I'm seeing light reflections off of the lenses. Even though that this movie looks cool and there's the bloom and it has like that immersive feel to it, I'm still seeing reflections sometimes when it's a very brightly lit scene inside of a dark environment. The only real way to like combat that or offset that is to switch the environment to like a lighter mode, and then it's not as bad because there's more light overall. But when it's just like, you know, completely dark, then I kind of, you know, run into issues with that. So that's just, you know, like I said, something I dislike. It's not a super deal breaker, but it's something that you notice. The other thing, the magnetic light seal. The magnetic light seal obviously is magnetic, and it's held on by magnets and attaches to the Vision Pro itself. However, if you lift up the Vision Pro by the magnetic seal, it will come off. That's annoying because you could drop the entire unit. That's $3,500 going down towards the ground, the floor, concrete, wherever you have it. It's not a good feeling. So I kind of wish the magnets on here were stronger. It's a nice convenience, but I dislike it because of just the risk that it presents. Eye tracking. Eye tracking on here is good. It surprised me how well I could kind of move around. Where eye tracking starts to struggle, at least in my opinion, is anything to do with having to really focus on a specific spot or something very small. So one of the things that I run into when I'm typing is the fact that I'm like, let's say I'm going to type in the word testing. So let's go down here. Okay. You see that right there? Like, even though my eyes try to keep up, it's not as simple as it sounds. I have to slow down and slowly type in the word testing. And then sometimes what my eyes would do is, because I'm used to like a regular keyboard, I'm already looking for the next letter. So sometimes with the tracking, it will jump ahead to where my eyes are going preemptively, and it's not like completely synced up with me clicking at the same time. Now, I guess you could say this is kind of like a user error, or you have to get used to this thing, but it slows you down. So it's not as fast as you would think. The other thing is let's say if I type this word, so let's go testing. You can see how, I got resting instead of testing. Now, let's say I made a mistake. I can't look at the word, right, and hit the backspace at the same time and still go there. I have to look at the backspace key and say, okay, 1, 2, okay, and you go 3, 4, or 5, 6, and look back. That's the issue that I have with that. But yeah, like really? Now what you can do is you can look up and then you could move the letter to get it to the right spot and then go back and then do that. But it's a little bit more time consuming. It takes a little bit more time to get used to that. So it's something I kind of dislike. I would like to rely on the dictation, but the dictation isn't always that accurate. So the eye tracking can be a hit or a miss, especially if you have eyes that kind of wander around a little too easily. Like, you really got to focus. Now, let's go back up and let's go back to the rest of my list here. Okay, no carrying case included. For $3,500, that you do get the Vision Pro. You do get the charger, the battery pack, the other light seal, I believe, or whatnot, the 2 head straps, but you don't get a carrying case. Honestly, I would think for this, get a carrying case. This was $25 on Amazon. I'll probably put a link down in the description below. $25. So Apple, they could have threw in a case just to keep this thing protected. I would think, hey, you know, AirPods, they come in a case. AirPods Max, they have somewhat of a case. At least have a case for this thing for how much it costs or whatever, right? Even if you want to make it out of super recyclable materials and, you know, not contribute to greenhouse gases or something like that. I forget what it's called, carbon neutral, whatever. Throw in a case. You know, $3,500, throw in a case. I know some people may say, oh, well, you know, what's another $200? It's another $200. That's what it is. Number 7, you can't use a third-party mouse. Apparently, you can only use Apple's Magic Trackpad with this. I'm sorry, for $3,500, I should be able to use any mouse that has a Bluetooth connection in existence. If I am wrong, please correct me, but based off of what other people have told me and what I've seen on the website, it's like, yeah, you need a Magic Mouse or you need a Magic Trackpad, which is silly. Now, apparently you can connect other Bluetooth keyboards and that's not supposed to be an issue. But when it comes to the whole tracking and all that stuff, I guess with the software, however they're doing it, you can only use the Magic Trackpad, which is $129. So I don't like that. Number 8, no ports. There are no physical ports on here for you to use to import media. Now, there's like an adapter that you can get that you can plug into this thing, but it's only for diagnostic purposes, and that thing's like, what, $300 or something like that? So I would like to use this for more video editing, but what I have to do is I have to rely on capturing footage either on the Vision Pro or on my phone, and then I have to airdrop it. I can't take an SD card and put it into an adapter or a dongle or anything like that and connect it to the $3,500 computer that's on my face. That kind of sucks. You can't connect any other peripherals or anything like that, and I think that's a very big drawback. Number 9, storage. $3,500, and the starting storage is 256 gigabytes of storage. I don't agree with that. I dislike that. honestly, this is what I would do. I would get rid of 256. I would have got rid of 512, and I would have just sold this thing with just 1 terabyte of storage. For everybody that's going to go out there and complain and say that they don't need 1 terabyte of storage, just take the 1 terabyte, right? If you need it, cool. If you don't need it, it's still there just in case. Versus getting a Vision Pro that has 256 gigs of storage, and we don't think that this is going to come out next year. Let's say people keep this for a long period of time. $3,500. I can see people keeping this for 4 or 5 years. Do you really want to be stuck with 256 gigabytes of storage for 4 years? No. But obviously it goes to the whole Apple pricing structure of 256, 512, 1 terabyte. Like I said, skip all of that. Just have a 1 terabyte model, since, not that many, non-enthusiasts are going to buy this. This isn't like a, $700, $800, $900 Mac Mini or MacBook Air. Like, this is supposed to be a serious thing. Put 1 terabyte on there. On the Mac Studio, which costs $2,000 out the gate, even that doesn't start at 256 gigabytes of storage. So yeah, Apple changed that the next time around. And then number 10, no user profiles. So pretty much what I have to do here is, if I want to share this with my family, I can't make a user profile for me, for my kid, for anybody else. I can't have multiple user profiles. And that to me is a very big drawback. A lot of people who have Meta Quest and other VR headsets have told me, like, hey, not having user profiles is kind of a bummer, once again, on a $3,500 device. Here's the confusing part, right? The confusing part is that on Mac OS, on a Mac Mini, on a Mac Pro, on a MacBook Pro, and even on an iMac, you can have multiple user profiles. But on iOS, iPadOS, and VisionOS, you can't have multiple user profiles. Now, you can have a guest user, but that's it. You can only have one guest user. You can't be like, hey, guest user 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of ridiculous. So that's what I dislike, but I still enjoy the Vision Pro. It's still something that I'm using every day, and I like it, but I just wanted to go ahead and make the video. That way I could be balanced. That way, hey, you're an Apple fanboy. Oh my God. No, there's some things I dislike about it, but I don't dislike it enough to not use it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, y'all, take it easy. Peace.